Hi friends, it's Jenny, and I am going to make my first of our September chain challenge necklaces tonight. So I did an unboxing earlier this week where I opened up the GGC Sophisticated Flowers and Shells collection, and I knew that I'd be making some beaded chain with it, and I have another project I'm also going to be filming tonight and releasing in the next couple of days because I'm going to be going and visiting my sister. So I'm filming a little bit ahead of time. If you see me drop something over the weekend, if it's not live, it's probably something I filmed ahead. So I am going to be doing that soon. But the design, I decided to do wrapped links, which I'm a lot less comfortable with. So I'm starting my first challenge with simple links because while they're not perfect and I'm still learning, I feel like I'm better at them. And so it was just a comfort zone thing for me. And some of these I need to fix. Like you can see here, I've got one that like this loop is not where it needs to be. That crystal's in danger. So when I open this link to attach it, I'm gonna fix that loop. So there's a little bit of that. Becky did a fantastic intro to beaded chain video that I will link below, where she talked about all the different methods and why you might choose one over the other. She also talked about where this challenge came from and said that the very first time she did it, she was at a point where she felt like she needed to increase her skill set. And if she just said, oh, I'll just do it more, then she knew she wouldn't do it. And so she challenged herself. Well, I'm at a very similar place right now. In fact, I think she even said that, in that I really need to practice this. So I am participating in Becky's September chain challenge that she's done on this site before. For the last 2 years, there will be links to the previous 2 years playlist, as well as the link to this year's playlist, which will build as we add to this challenge with sets from both Becky and I. It's gonna be growing. I am gonna follow her example and do 2 necklaces a week. And yeah, that's pretty much the lowdown. So I thought I'd start with this one. Let's go over tools that I'm using, and then like materials, and then we'll get started doing this. I have made a lot of the links ahead of time, as you do, just because links take time. But I have set aside the beads to make one more link of each type on camera with you, so I can tell you what I've put into it and demonstrate how I make my simple links. So for the tools that I'm using today, I am using some six-step bell making pliers for making my loops. I've got my casual comfort pliers right here for opening and closing those loops. I also have some round nose pliers nearby in case I need them to round something out that's not quite the right size from the bell making pliers. And then I'm using some flush cutters. So those are the tools that I'm using. I am going to be using 20 gauge gold silver plated craft wire from Softlex. You can see I have been using a lot of this over the last several months. But don't worry, I have another spool that is unopened. I just got that recently. So I'm not going to run out, but I am running low, which, you know, that says a lot. It means I have actually been using my wire to make some things. So that's good. From the collection, and this is what else is in the box after what I pulled for this project. Still a lot in here. And I am going to be using this jade. I think I said in the unboxing, I'm not sure if this is jade or marketed as jade, but it is a gemstone pendant that's faceted and gold plated. And I got this little connector from my stash. I'm using these hearts, CZ hearts. They might be rhinestone hearts. Let me get that list out. Since you know we're doing the thing, that is, yep, rhinestone hearts. So these rhinestone hearts for some earrings. I am going to make some earrings at the end. This is the link that I've decided I want to use for the earrings, but it's also the link that I'm going to use to connect the pendant to the connector so that we end up with kind of like a Y-shaped necklace. That's kind of the idea on this one. And then for the links, I've got one of the links. Here's the example of it. So one of the links is this large bicone. I don't remember what that one was called. Black, yeah, it's a faceted bicone bead, but it's a large one with 2 of these star cut crystals, just these small little star cut crystals that have the black electroplating. And then for the other link in the necklace, this is going to be one of the gold splattered beads, gold splattered with these star cut crystals and the smaller guys on either side of it. And then for the third link, the one that matches what we're doing here, so let's see, try to do this consistent. So we've got the example above the beads, here we go. And then for this one, which is the one that we're going to be using for the ear wires, I'm using those star cut crystals and the faceted disc crystal, the rondelle right here, which I really loved out of the box. And I planned on using a whole lot in this, but when I was actually putting together my links, this is the direction I wanted to go. I am looking forward to using those later, maybe in a strung design. So, but this is what I'm going to do for the 3 links. So I'm going to make one of each of those with you. I am using a total of 6 of these links. I'm using all of the bicones for that. I'm doing 8 of these links and 3 of these links in case you were recreating some of what I did here. So let me get the wire open. And then I'm going to just extend part of this wire, and I'm just running it between my fingers back and forth, my thumb and my finger, to try to work out the kinks. I seem to notice that as I get to the bottom of the spool, it kinks. There's a lot more kinks, and I don't know if it's just because it's been on the spool for so long. But what I'm doing is, you can use pliers to do this, some nylon jaw pliers, but it also warms up the wire, makes it a little bit easier to use. And it doesn't work harden it when you're straightening out those kinks. Sometimes the nylon jaw can work harden a little bit. So I'm still wanting to make my link, so I'm starting with this. Now I'm just going to load all of my beads for all 3 links onto my wire and do this kind of assembly line, which is how I made the other links. You know, when I made 5 of these guys and 7 of those guys. Well, the first link of each of those pairs, I'll be honest, I did completely on its own because I wanted to see what that link looked like as a completed link before I committed to it being what I was making. So there was the prototype and then the assembly line for all the other little guys. And here we go. So I've got, this is, as I pointed out when I lined them up, the order of all 3 of those links in one place. Let them slide down my wire. And then I am using my 6-step veil making pliers, these guys here. And I am pinching the end of the wire between the smallest and the next step up. And I am going to be using the smallest step for this. I do like to have small loops when I'm making chain. And so I might experiment with more of that later on this month. I don't know. But for now, this is what I'm doing. So I'm just taking it and rolling it. Little squeeze, little squeeze. And then once it comes back and meets the wire, like this, then I'm just rotating the pliers a little bit and using this second step to knock it back just a little bit so that I get more of a centered loop. Okay. And then I'm moving all the beads up for my first link. That's these 3 guys, the star cut crystal, the rondelle crystal, and then the other star cut crystal. And then I am snipping with my flesh cutters about a finger's length down from here with the flesh end towards the spool. That way it's all set up for the next one I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing one more trim on this one, so it will be just fine. Now, these links that I made for the earrings have perpendicular holes. So when you see one hole straight on, you see the other hole, come on, focus. You see the circle of the other hole. That's perpendicular. But for hanging this to the connector, I actually need these to be parallel loops. So instead of angling this wire either toward me or beside me while I've got this loop facing forward, see, so I can see the loop here, I want to see the loop here as well. So I'm going to knock this off to the side, right across that bead. And then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to snip down to where I leave about 1 centimeter. That might be a little bit too long. We'll see. Oh, and it's not quite flush. I was at an angle. Tiny little nibble off of that. All right. So then I take this, and again, I'm using that smallest loop, and I'm just doing the same thing over again. So what I did by pushing the wire over to start with is I made it so that when I came back around with this wire and it meets this is a more centered loop. So instead of trying to do that afterwards where it's awkward and might break my crystals, I did it right now. So, and that is parallel just how I want it to, so you can see the circles for both. So that one is ready to go. I'm setting it aside separately from the ones for the earrings because it is the one that I made. Actually, I'm going to leave it on my mat because it's going to be one of the first ones that we connect. So next I'm going to make, this is my most common link. Oh, let's start it how we start it. So here, it's already a flush cut because of the way I cut when I was taking it off the spool before. Whoops, slipped right out of my hands. I did just put lotion on my hands because my hands are feeling really dry. So you can see I just did it again. I'm not going to describe it every time that I do it, but I am doing it where you can see it so that you can be reminded of this is how I do my simple loop. And then these ones I was making parallel. They don't really need to be any one or the other. I'm just making them all parallel because the beads rotate. So it doesn't matter which direction face forward or necessarily how it connects. So at least I don't think so. We'll see if I need to adjust something later. Again, that might be my inexperience talking because I am, as Becky says, less practiced. Yeah, that's a nice little loop. I like that. And then just to make sure that it is parallel and to help work harden those loops, which I forgot to do on the other one, I'm taking these and I'm putting one in each plier, and see how it's not quite straight. I just twist it and they're fine now. So that matches. While I've got these out, I'm just giving a little squish to both of these to help work harden those loops. And then we're going to make our final type of link. I did this with, especially with that really big bicone, I felt like it was a good mirror of what we have going on with the pendant. And so it was a good one to kind of be the link that gets highlighted, the one that draws your attention in the chain itself. We'll see if it all comes together the way that I have it imagined. I'm about to have that noisy spool off. It's noisier when there's less on it. Setting aside the spool because we're done with that. And but I thought with this large bicone that it would make a nice something that draws your eye, but that we have all these pretty sparkles happening in between as well. So hopefully it all comes together. I know what I have in my head, but I don't know how that is all going to work out for us. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my new link that I just made that had the parallel loops for this crystally one. In fact, let me put this so you can see that smoky color to it. So pretty. This is the one that was all gray tones instead of like creamy tones. So I'm just going to open up this link and I'm going to attach it to this bottom. So we've got this connector it's just a link. It's got you know, a loop on either side that are meant to be, but it's also got loops all around it. I mean, it's a flower shape. And so I am using this bottom one here to attach this. I want to have it go the other direction. There we go. To attach it to this link. Yes. And then I'm going to open this side of my link. And I need to make sure, oh wait, no, it's the same front and back. So this pendant is the same front and back. You just want to make sure, because like my connector does have a front side with that CZ on it. It was just important to make sure that that is facing forward when I complete this. But most of the rest of this can do what it wants. Okay, so now we have our connector and link and pendant. I think that's so pretty. Oh, okay, I'm loving it. Now I'm going to string 1/2 of the, or start putting together the, I'm not attaching it to that link yet. But what I'm basically doing is I'm starting with this one because I have 8 of these and 6 of those, remember? That is so that these are in between each of those. It's the idea. So, going to attach that here. I picked the link that was more closed to attach right there because I'm not opening it again. This one is a little bit open. So this is going to give me a chance to correct. See how it has this little tiny gap there? This gives me a chance to correct that loop when I attach another one to it. So on this link, both of those loops look good. So I'll just attach it here. And this time when I swing this closed, remember there was that little bit of a gap? I just made sure there was no gap. That easy. And then I'm just alternating between these links that I made. I feel like I've done a couple of black necklaces lately. Gosh, I've done a lot that uses blacks and grays. So I had my larva kite donut, which was a strung design with the donut in the middle. And then I had another larva kite design that used rose gold. And then I recently did that kind of simple elegance one that I did. And that one was all black on black. That was also a strung design. I think this is the first time I'm doing a full beaded chain. No, because that's what I did with the other one. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of black. I think it's a really sophisticated look. It's also not an inappropriate time for black jewelry. If you do the whole Halloween thing, you could easily like wear one of these sets and be like, yep, I got this. Okay, so this is half of the necklace. This is where I am going to probably need to make some more links because I don't think that this is long enough. I wasn't sure because I was estimating based on the length of the links, but this is 7 links that are 1 1¼ inch long. So total of 7. And I do need to have room for clasping, but I think I need 1 more link for each side. So let me continue on and get this at least to the length that I need. There we go. Because I can take, you know, the half of the strand that I have and hold it up to my neck about where I want to have it. Yes. Okay, so I am going to make 2 more links and link the other side so that that's all done and ready. And I will meet you right back here so you don't have to watch me making those links. Okay, I am back, and I added one extra link to each side to get the length that I want. And so now I'm going to attach these to my pendant and attach a clasp, and we'll be done with the necklace. And then we just have earrings to make. So I am just taking this one in because I have one of these links on this end of the chain and two on the other. I'm just making sure that I am using the one that only has one, so I get to these bicones sooner in my design. I'm just opening that link and sliding it into this link, this connector link that I'm using. Whoops. Except I turned it when I showed you and it slid right off. There we go. Keep my eyes on it this time. Oops. Yeah, I like it. And then same thing on this side, making sure that that bicone is coming up next. Oh my gosh, guys, I love this. I love this. Now you could make this a longer necklace so that it definitely hangs down more into that like Y zone. For me, it's going to hang a little bit more like this, so that this is going to be around the collar of my neck. So like my collarbone and everything will be right around here, and then this will hang down there on my breastbone. So that's how it will do, but you can easily, if you want it to drape a little bit different, you could easily add just a couple more links on the back side of it using, there were only 6 of these bicones, so those are all used up, but you could add more of these to get the length that you want. Now this does have a front because of this CZ here in the connector, and I like my fiddly bit on the right side. So I'm going to be using this toggle clasp that was part of the collection. The only thing I'm using in this actually that is not part of the collection is my craft wire and this connector. Everything else was part of this collection. So that's fairly complete. Now, one thing, the fiddly bit for me is the bar. And one thing that assists with doing the bar is if you can have a jump ring, so it has a little bit more movement. Let's see if I can get one a little bit smaller. One of those guys, yes. If you can have a little bit more movement, then that's better. So I am using a jump ring to attach this. I'll be attaching the loop directly to the link at the end. So I'm just, oh, actually keep that closed because it is currently a closed loop, and this jump ring is going to need to attach to both. So getting another set of pliers. You know, when you're holding on to the link, you can just use one set of pliers to open and close pretty easily. That's what I was doing when I was connecting. But jump rings, that's a whole different beast. So attaching that and the bar for my toggle and making sure that that meets up so that my wire doesn't work its way through. And then on this side, I'm going to go ahead and just put my loop on. And I'm going to try this necklace. If I need to make any adjustments, I have the tools to do that, but this is going to give me a pretty good idea how this is going to fit. And it is actually a little bit more like that Y shape that I showed you. So that's actually good. That's actually good. I thought that it would be a little bit shorter, but this is actually what I was going for. But I hadn't tried it again since adding the links and clasp until just now. So this is Jenny's first beaded chain necklace for September 2025. The first time that I'm participating with Becky in this challenge. And I'm kind of loving this. Let me get it's a little bit twisty. Yeah, that can happen. Let me have it not connected while I work out the little twists. Now, one thing you can do is if you wanted to and you don't mind having the extra space, you can attach these with jump rings. I'm low on gold jump rings, so I chose not to. There we go. But you can, they won't get caught on each other as much if you put a little jump ring in between. But I think that turned out really pretty. That turned out super pretty. Now my earrings are easy because I've already made the links for them. It's just a matter of attaching them to these rhinestone heart pendants. So I've got my ear wires. These are just some nickel-free ear wires that I have. And we've got our links and our drops. So this is pretty easy because, like I said, we already made the links and it's the same link we used here. So it ties in without necessarily being one of these main links that we used. So it will all kind of fit kind of nice. So you just open up one of your loops, get your heart on, close that up, and then open up the other loop. And you'll want to make sure when you're putting on your ear wire that, because this does have a front and back, this is the back, so I want to make sure that the back of my ear wire is facing this direction, so the point, so that when it's in my ear, it faces forward. Tiny bit of detail, but an important detail. And then we just do that again for the other side. So easy. And it's just a finicky thing for me. It's not, you can't help it at the top loop, but like here where it's attaching to the heart, I did make sure that it was the closed part of that loop that was facing forward and the open part is at the back. I just think it looks nicer. So that's just what I did there. And then again, making sure my back and back match. And now we've got both pairs of earrings. And this was actually a pretty quick tutorial for you all, mainly because I did my links off screen. I made them off screen. I did have a couple of extra ones. I probably could have done them with you since, you know, this is a little bit shorter video, but I think this is pretty well what I was looking for. Like this is exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with I love this box. Again, this is not a subscription. It is curated bi-monthly. So every couple of months we get a new collection from Gina at GGC Creations. The last I looked, both of the colorways are still available. This was the recently released, and this is the sophisticated collection that I used. But there's also the Demure, which has all of the same gold findings, but then different colors for all of the other beads and components so that it goes with the other colorway. I suggest you go ahead and do that. I suggest you go ahead and check out Gina's YouTube channel as well, because she is already creating, she's got at least 2 tutorials up right now, and she's going to be creating more that use these collections, and she shows what it looks like with both colorways. So it doesn't matter which one you got, you're still going to see what it looks like with the other colorway on hers. So anyway, I love this. I hope you did too. Make sure that you hit like if you haven't already, subscribe, leave us a comment, and as always, happy beading and don't forget to play. Bye.